FUGU. FUGU is a Japanese pufferfish that contains tetrodotoxin, a neurotoxin 1,200 times more deadly than cyanide, with no known antidote. A single fish contains enough poison to kill 30 people. Japanese chefs must train for a minimum of 3 years and pass a government examination before they are legally permitted to prepare it. The exam has a failure rate of approximately 70%. The liver, ovaries, and skin contain the highest concentrations of toxin and are illegal to serve in Japan. Approximately 50 people die from FUGU poisoning annually, almost always from improperly prepared fish obtained outside licensed restaurants. A fish whose preparation requires a government license and can still kill you is served as a delicacy across Japan every winter.
Deathcap mushroom. The deathcap Amanita phalloides is responsible for approximately 90% of all fatal mushroom poisonings worldwide. It tastes pleasant. It smells pleasant. It produces no immediate symptoms. The toxins, amatoxins, begin destroying liver and kidney cells hours after consumption, while the person who ate it feels completely fine. By the time symptoms appear, typically 6 to 24 hours later, irreversible organ damage has already occurred. The deathcap resembles several edible mushroom species closely enough that expert foragers have been fatally deceived. Emperor Claudius of Rome, Holy Roman Emperor Charles VI, and Pope Clement VII are all believed to have died from deathcap poisoning. A mushroom that looks harmless has been killing people, including world leaders, for thousands of years.
ACKEE. ACKEE is the national fruit of Jamaica and is served daily across the country in the national dish, ackee and saltfish. It is also capable of causing Jamaican vomiting sickness, which leads to hypoglycemia severe enough to cause coma and death. The toxin, hypoglycin A, is concentrated in the areoles surrounding the seeds and in unripe fruit. And ripe ackee opens naturally on the tree, revealing safe yellow flesh. An ackee that has not opened naturally is not ready and must never be forced open or eaten. The United States banned ackee imports for years due to the poisoning risk. Jamaica's national fruit requires the fruit itself to signal when it is safe to eat.
Cassava. Cassava feeds over 800 million people globally and is one of the most important food crops on Earth. It also contains cyanogenic glucosides that release hydrogen cyanide when the plant tissue is damaged. Bitter cassava varieties contain enough cyanide to kill a person if eaten raw. Traditional processing methods, including peeling, soaking, fermenting, and cooking, reduce the cyanide content to safe levels. Communities that depend on cassava have developed these techniques over generations. When famine or displacement forces people to skip the processing steps, cassava poisoning outbreaks occur. A crop that feeds hundreds of millions requires specific preparation knowledge to avoid producing cyanide. The knowledge is the difference between nutrition and poisoning.
Red kidney beans. Raw red kidney beans contain phytohemagglutinin, a lectin that causes severe food poisoning. As few as 4 or 5 raw beans cause vomiting and diarrhea within hours of consumption. Slow cookers are specifically dangerous because they may not reach temperatures high enough to neutralize the toxin and actually concentrate it. The FDA recommends boiling kidney beans vigorously for at least 30 minutes before any other cooking method. Kidney beans cooked at lower temperatures for longer periods can be more toxic than completely raw beans. A bean used in chili and stews across America contains a toxin that slow cooker recipes consistently underestimate. The fix is simple: boil them first. Most recipes skip this step entirely.
Blood clams. Blood clams get their name from the red hemoglobin-rich fluid inside them, which resembles blood when the shell is opened. They're consumed raw across Southeast Asia, particularly in China and Vietnam. Blood clams filter water at a higher rate than most shellfish, which means they accumulate pathogens from their environment more efficiently. They've been linked to outbreaks of hepatitis A, typhoid, and dysentery in regions where they are harvested from polluted waters. Shanghai banned the sale of blood clams in 1988 after a hepatitis A outbreak infected 300,000 people and killed 47. A shellfish consumed raw across Asia was responsible for one of the largest hepatitis outbreaks in history.
Mad honey.
Mad honey is produced by bees in the Black Sea region of Turkey and Nepal that collect nectar from rhododendron flowers containing granotoxins. Consuming 1 to 2 tablespoons causes dizziness, hallucinations, slowed heart rate, and loss of consciousness. Higher doses cause seizures and cardiac arrest. Mad honey has been weaponized in warfare. In 67 BCE, King Mithridates of Pontus left honeycombs containing mad honey along the path of Roman soldiers under Pompey. The soldiers consumed the honey, became incapacitated, and were slaughtered. A honey used as a weapon in ancient warfare is now sold as a luxury product in specialty stores for its hallucinogenic properties.
Live octopus. Sanakji is a Korean dish of live octopus served immediately after being cut into pieces, with the severed tentacles still moving on the plate. The danger is not the octopus itself, but its suction cups, which remain active after death and can attach to the throat during swallowing, causing choking. Approximately 6 people die annually in South Korea from choking on sanakji. The recommended technique is to chew thoroughly before swallowing. The appeal of the dish is specifically the sensation of the moving tentacles in the mouth. A food whose primary selling point is that it moves while being eaten kills several people every year through the same mechanism that makes it appealing.
CASU MARZU. CASU MARZU is a Sardinian sheep's milk cheese that contains live maggots. The cheese is made by allowing pecorino to ferment beyond normal aging, then introducing cheese flies whose larvae digest the fats and produce a soft, creamy texture with a sharp flavor that regular pecorino cannot achieve. The maggots are translucent, approximately 8 millimeters long, and still alive when the cheese is eaten. Some people remove them before eating. Most Sardinians consider this unnecessary. The European Union banned CASU MARZU for sale in 2002 on food safety grounds. Sardinia continued making it anyway under traditional food protections. A cheese that requires live insects to exist is illegal in most of Europe and considered a cultural treasure in the region that invented it.
Cherry pits. Cherry flesh is safe. Cherry pits contain amygdalin, a compound that metabolizes into hydrogen cyanide when crushed or chewed. Swallowing whole pits passes them through the digestive system safely because the hard shell prevents the amygdalin from being released. Crushing or chewing the pit releases the cyanide. Several cherry pits consumed this way would cause symptoms. A lethal dose requires consuming many crushed pits simultaneously, which is unlikely accidentally. The danger is primarily relevant to cherry pit liqueurs produced by crushing the pits during fermentation. A fruit consumed safely by billions of people contains cyanide in the part that is not supposed to be eaten, which most people do not eat anyway.
Green potatoes. Green potatoes contain solanine, a glycoalkaloid produced when potatoes are exposed to light. The green color itself comes from chlorophyll and is harmless. The solanine develops simultaneously with the chlorophyll, making the green color an indicator of toxin presence. Solanine causes nausea, headaches, and, in high concentrations, neurological symptoms. A potato that has turned significantly green throughout the flesh rather than just the skin surface should not be eaten. Peeling removes most surface solanine, but cannot remove solanine that has penetrated deep into the flesh. A vegetable found in every kitchen contains a toxin that develops when it is stored improperly or exposed to light, which happens in most kitchen conditions eventually.
Raw cashews. Cashews sold in stores labeled raw are not actually raw. They have been steamed to remove urushiol, the same chemical found in poison ivy and poison oak that causes severe allergic skin reactions and blistering. True raw cashews contain urushiol in the shell and surrounding layers. Workers who process cashews without protective equipment develop contact dermatitis from handling the shells. The steaming process removes the urushiol before the nut reaches consumers. Truly raw cashews cannot be safely eaten without processing. A nut sold as raw in health food stores has already been heat processed to remove a toxin related to poison ivy. The raw label describes the nut's culinary properties, not its actual processing history.